Hello everyone and welcome back to Rise of Industry. I am ObiVanDamme, and in this second part of my Alpha 5 tutorial we are going to leave behind theory and start with some actual gameplay. In the first half we will set up a production chain with perfect ratios. I will show you how you calculate those ratios and give you some advice for your factory layout to make sure all goods are distributed in the way we actually want it. After that, we will take a deeper look into the trade route feature and set up a 5-stop trade route with different goods on the same section, as well as items that will not leave the route at a stop but will be carried along to supply a second factory with the same item. In that example, we will use train routes because first, trains are awesome, and second, there are some pitfalls when it comes to using trains, and I want to make sure you do not make the same mistakes as I did when I started with trains. Please keep in mind that for simplicity reasons, during recording this second part is done in free play mode. That means that all buildings are unlocked and all passive bonuses you usually get by mastering the different tiers are unlocked. The math still works out fine, but the resulting production will be a lot higher than expected and your upkeep and dispatch costs will be much lower. Have fun, enjoy, and I will see you in a second. Let's take a look at our cardboard factory layout that we did in the Gatherer start in detail and try to find out why this is the perfect ratio for this setup so that your cardboard paper mills are working 100% of the time without any goods piling up anywhere. To do this, let's open the recipe book that you can find in the top right corner. There's also a recipe book available as PDF, and you will find the link to that in the description below if you want to print it out or have it on a separate monitor or whatever. For cardboard, you can see the time to produce it is 50 days, and it requires a single unit of water and 2 units of wood. The water produces in 7.5 days, as well as the wood. So that means that a single water pump can supply 2 cardboard factories, and 2 woodcutters, because you require 2 units to make cardboard, can also supply 2 paper mills. That means this setup, as I said, is perfectly balanced and nothing will be piling up as long as you are either playing in free play mode or mastered the same tier in the tech tree, because the passive bonuses in the track tree can of course screw this up and bring this to an imbalance, but let's not bother about that for the moment. Now what will happen if we try to add an additional product to this production chain that requires cardboard? And the easiest one is Carton, which just requires 1 cardboard. But as you can see here, the production time is 12.5, so it's not as easy to calculate as the ratios for cardboard production. Fortunately, it is still quite easy to do this because all production times in the game are based on 2.5 days. So what you can do if you want to make it easy is just take the production time and divide it by 2.5 days for each item in your production chain, and you will come up with the perfect number of factories or gatherers that you need. For Carton, it looks like that. And as you can see here, we will be able to support 5 carton factories with 6 cardboard paper mills, and we will also need the respective amount of gatherers. So let me just quickly set up the amount of cardboard and then we will come back to the carton factories because there's a little bit more than just the number of factories to do. So now that we have our 6 cardboard factories, let's set up our paper mills to produce carton. And for that we will use a very special pattern that I call the Christmas tree pattern. What this pattern does is that it will allow you to distribute your goods equally because all of those paper mills will now have the exact same distance from this tile on the road. So that means no matter from where the truck is coming, if it is a single origin, it will always have to travel the exact same distance. If the distances between the factories is too great, you will get imbalances because the trucks will not arrive back at the depot in the same order that you send them out. So some of the factories, the nearer ones, will receive more goods than the factories further away. Now for distribution, we will choose one of those logistics buildings because they have 5 destination slots. And usually you should pick the warehouse if all your other factories are nearby, because the warehouse has a neat little feature which is called gathered goods over here. And over here you can select one of the goods that is available in this area of influence of the warehouse. And what the warehouse will do is it will send out trucks, those small gathering trucks, to gather all the available goods that it can find and bring them back to the warehouse. And over here we can choose cardboard as well and send this stuff to all of our paper mills. Let's make sure we always send just a single truck. 7, 11, 8, 10, and 9. And as you can see in this screen, all of those paper mills have the exact same distance because of our nice pattern that we chose over here. There's an additional thing that you can see here, that some of those factories are not smoking. And as soon as the cardboard arrives, just like that, you can see the paper mills will now start lit their chimneys, and this means that the factory is now working. So whenever you encounter a non-smoking factory on your map, this means that it is currently not producing anything and just wasting your money. So keep an eye open for those. The last thing I would like to talk about in this tutorial are trade routes. You already set up a single, very simple trade route with trucks in the tutorial that had 2 stops. But there's a lot more to this trade route feature that you already saw. There are currently 4 different types of trade routes available: trains, trucks, boats, and zeppelins, all with their unique advantages and disadvantages. Trucks, for example, are very cheap, easy to set up because they can use the already existing road infrastructure, but they are slow and they cannot carry many goods. Trains, on the other hand, are very fast, but they need a track system to be set up before you can use them. Boats are slow but can carry huge amounts of load, plus they require water, which means they are not always available. Zeppelins are awesome. You can use them everywhere because they can fly. They don't need any additional infrastructure because, well, they can fly, but they are extremely expensive, so you should maybe avoid them until you reach the end game and have to transport very, very expensive goods that are worth being transported by Zeppelin. In addition to that, there is a little bit more to the trade routes themselves, no matter which kind of trade route you choose. In this example, I would like to show you this thing with trains, because, well, trains are almost as awesome as zeppelins, plus there are some pitfalls if it comes to setting up a track system. First of all, you want to set up the terminal over here, connected with the street, so the goods can be delivered to it. Then, when the things are on the train, what the trains are doing is that they will leave the train depot or the train terminal on the side that is indicated by a green sign if you look from the terminal to the track. If you turn the map around, you can see that there is now a red sign over here. And the green one is on the other side, so trains will enter the terminal on this side. So think about your route before you set up your track system to make sure that the trains can leave, or that the trains can reach their destination from the port that they are, from the platform that they are leaving. So in this case, I want the coal and iron from here to be sent to the smelters, which means we will set up the track system from the left side, and we will make sure that it will arrive on the green side at this terminal. So now that this is set up, we can open the trade routes panel, click on add routes, go to trains, and we can select the train terminal. No, this was the wrong one. Train route. We need, oh, it doesn't say the name. That's bad, okay? But you can click on this small icon and it will show you which one it is. So we will set up this one. The next stop will be that one over here. And then we will add another stop over here. Yep, it's this one. And the final stop will be all the way here on this terminal. So now the plan is to basically deliver coal and iron from over here. It's coal and iron ore. And we will bring this to the smelters. At the smelters, this will be unlocked, or not unlocked, this will be unloaded, which is the same thing that you already did before. So now the interesting part. We will add the steel from here to the same trade route, and then we will deliver the steel to this terminal. It hasn't any use at the moment, but let's say there's a factory that requires steel. But then there is another factory at this depot that also requires steel. So what we want to do is, we want to click this icon to make this gray over here, which will mean this steel will not be unloaded at that terminal, but will be carried along to the next stop. And then over here, we have another factory that also requires steel, and we can unload the steel right here. Now the train is empty, and it can go all the way back to the starting point over here. And as you can see, the train is already departing. It is always advisable to just use the minimum amount of goods over here, though the 4 slots are more or less used for transporting different goods rather than more goods. If you want to transport more, you can just increase this number over here to make more trains leave your depot. Because trade routes will only start when all the goods are available. So as you can see here, the train did not yet leave this depot. Now it did, because there were not all 14 items of steel available. Now it's doing its job. And as you can see, it will now go here, unload a single piece of steel. So now there's 7 steel right here. Or it's 14 because there's a second train that arrived. And now this one will travel along with just a single load of steel and bring this to here. Okay, no idea why it just dumped 3 in here. Yeah, maybe there's something buggy over here, but that doesn't matter really. This is basically how it works, and this should be fixed in the release version that you will get. I hope that this was helpful, and yeah, that you can now set up your own train routes and become an industrialist. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.